A third party asked your soulmate about having children. Their answer led straight to you. My beloved child, something was said in a conversation your soulmate never expected to have, and the moment the third party asked one simple question, everything changed. The question sounded ordinary: when you imagine having children someday, who do you imagine beside you? Your soulmate went completely quiet, not because they had no answer, but because one person immediately appeared in their mind. You. And what happened next revealed far more than the third party was prepared to hear. Don't skip, because the most surprising part was not that your soulmate thought about you. It was how quickly they did. There was no hesitation inside their heart. No searching through possibilities. No confusion. The image arrived instantly, you standing beside them, sharing ordinary mornings, building traditions together, creating a home filled with warmth and laughter. The third party noticed the change in their expression and asked, "You already have someone in mind, don't you?" Your soulmate tried to avoid answering, but their silence answered first. Something huge is waiting for you, because this conversation brought a hidden truth closer to the surface than ever before. Your soulmate has been thinking beyond messages, beyond memories, beyond temporary emotions. Somewhere inside them, they have quietly imagined what a real future with you could look like. And once that picture appeared in their mind, they couldn't simply erase it. But here is where the conversation became impossible to forget. The third party pressed further and asked what kind of person your soulmate would actually trust enough to build that future with. Your soulmate could have given a general answer. They could have described qualities without connecting them to anyone. Instead, they started describing someone who listens differently, someone whose presence feels strangely familiar, someone who understands what remains unspoken, someone they can imagine still wanting beside them when excitement becomes everyday life. With every sentence, the description pointed more clearly toward you. Stay till the end, because the final thing they admitted changed the entire meaning of this conversation. Your soulmate said they wouldn't want to build a family simply because it was expected of them. They would only want it with someone who made home feel like a person rather than a place. The third party immediately understood. You're talking about them, aren't you? Again, there was silence. But this time your soulmate smiled. That tiny reaction revealed what words were still trying to hide. For perhaps the first time, they realized their feelings for you had quietly traveled much further into the future than they had allowed themselves to admit. They weren't only remembering you. They weren't only wondering whether you still cared. Their mind had already placed you inside moments that haven't even happened yet. And now comes the revelation the third party never expected. After everything your soulmate had described, they were asked one final question: if that person came back into your life and genuinely wanted the same future, would you choose them? Your soulmate didn't need time. Their answer came with a certainty that surprised even them: I think I already chose them in my heart a long time ago. Don't skip what this means. The question about children uncovered something much bigger than the question itself. It exposed where your soulmate's imagination goes when they think about commitment, belonging, and the person they want beside them through the chapters that truly matter. And somehow, every road kept leading straight back to you. Something huge is waiting for you, because after that conversation ended, your soulmate was left alone with a realization they could no longer easily dismiss. If you are the person appearing in their deepest picture of tomorrow, then eventually they may have to decide what they are going to do about today. Stay till the end, because the next thing forming inside their heart is not another fantasy. It is a decision, and once you hear what pushed them toward it, this entire conversation will suddenly make sense. There is one detail from that conversation your soulmate could not stop thinking about afterward. Hours passed, other conversations happened, life continued normally, but that one question kept returning: why did I immediately picture them? Your soulmate tried to explain it away as memory, familiarity, or unfinished emotions, but none of those explanations felt complete. Don't skip, because then something even more surprising happened. They started remembering tiny details about you they thought they had forgotten, the way you made ordinary moments feel meaningful, the calm they associated with your presence, and the strange feeling that they could completely be themselves around you. Suddenly, that future they had imagined did not feel random anymore. It felt connected to everything they had quietly valued about you from the beginning. And this is where the third party's question became far more powerful than anyone expected. It forced your soulmate to separate temporary attraction from something deeper. When they imagined years ahead, not tomorrow, not next week, but a completely different chapter of life, you were still there. Stay till the end, because your soulmate then realized something they had never admitted even to themselves. Whenever they pictured the person they would trust with their most meaningful future, they kept giving that person your qualities. Then came the moment that shifted everything again. Your soulmate replayed the conversation and remembered the third party asking, "If you already know who you want beside you, what are you waiting for?" That question landed differently. Something huge is waiting for you, because instead of immediately thinking about all the reasons they couldn't move toward you, your soulmate started thinking about what might happen if they never did. They imagined watching time move forward while leaving the most important words unsaid. They imagined you eventually building a beautiful future that no longer included them. And for the first time, that possibility felt heavier than the uncertainty of reaching toward you. Your soulmate began understanding that the future they secretly wanted could never begin while they continued hiding from the present. The third party may have expected a casual conversation about children, but instead they accidentally opened a door your soulmate had kept firmly closed. Behind that door was your name, your memory, and a future your soulmate had apparently been carrying far longer than they realized. Don't skip, because the biggest realization was still coming. Your soulmate wasn't afraid because they felt nothing. They were afraid because imagining something real with you suddenly made everything matter more, and now your soulmate is facing a question they can no longer avoid. If their heart naturally chooses you when nobody is telling it whom to choose, what does that reveal about everything they have been suppressing? Stay till the end, because this is where their thoughts started turning into intention. They began imagining an actual conversation with you. Not some perfect dramatic moment, but an honest one. They pictured finally telling you that your place in their heart never became as small as they pretended. They pictured admitting that when someone unexpectedly asked about their future, your face appeared before they could control the answer. And perhaps most surprising of all, they wondered whether you had ever pictured them there too. Something huge is waiting for you, because your soulmate is beginning to understand that the third party did not create these feelings. That question simply exposed what was already underneath everything. Now the truth has been seen, and your soulmate cannot completely unsee it. The next shift comes when they realize exactly why you became the person connected to that future, and the answer reaches back to one unforgettable moment between you that changed how they saw you forever. What your soulmate remembered next was not some grand moment, it was something so small that they had almost convinced themselves it meant nothing. Yet that single memory may explain why their mind went straight to you when the third party asked about children and the future. Don't skip, because this is where the entire story begins connecting. Your soulmate remembered a moment when you showed them a side of yourself that felt completely genuine. Maybe you listened when they expected to be ignored. Maybe you understood something they struggled to explain. Maybe you brought calm into a moment when their thoughts felt scattered. Whatever happened, your soulmate remembered looking at you differently afterward. Something inside them quietly said, "This person is different." They never told you how deeply that moment stayed with them. They simply carried it forward. Stay till the end, because years, distance, silence, or changing circumstances could not completely erase the feeling attached to that memory. And when someone suddenly asked them who they could imagine beside them in one of life's biggest chapters, their heart returned to the person who once made them feel understood without demanding anything in return. It returned to you. But something even bigger followed that realization. Your soulmate started comparing what they thought they wanted in the past with what they truly value now. Suddenly, appearances were not enough. Excitement alone was not enough. Temporary attention was not enough. They began thinking about patience, loyalty, laughter after difficult days, quiet conversations, shared dreams, and the kind of connection that becomes stronger when life becomes ordinary. And every time they pictured those things, memories of you kept appearing. Something huge is waiting for you, because your soulmate then understood why the third party's question had affected them so strongly. It revealed that somewhere deep inside, they had already connected you with permanence. Don't skip. They may have tried to place you inside the past, but their imagination kept placing you inside the future. That contradiction shook them. How could someone supposedly left behind still be the first person their heart selected when imagining tomorrow? Your soulmate could no longer pretend this was simply nostalgia. Nostalgia remembers what happened. This was different. This was their heart wondering what could still happen. Then came the thought they were least prepared for: what if they have already stopped waiting for me? Stay till the end, because that question changed their emotional direction completely. Until now, your soulmate had been focused on their own uncertainty. Suddenly, they began thinking about yours. They wondered whether you had interpreted their silence as an answer. They wondered whether you had started closing the door they secretly hoped would remain open. And for the first time, they understood that wanting a future with someone means very little if you never give that person a reason to believe you want them in your present. Something huge is waiting for you, because your soulmate is approaching a point where imagination alone no longer feels enough. That conversation with the third party planted one unavoidable question inside them: if they can picture you beside them through the most meaningful chapters of life, why are they still allowing distance to write the story? And the answer they are beginning to uncover is about to reveal what has truly been holding them back, and why that reason may finally be losing its power. Now the truth your soulmate had been avoiding is finally becoming impossible to ignore. The reason they kept their distance was never that you meant too little, it was that you began to mean far more than they expected. Don't skip, because the third party's question about having children quietly exposed the depth of that feeling. Your soulmate realized that thinking about you was easy when everything remained inside imagination, but choosing you openly would make the connection real. Real feelings require honesty. Real futures require decisions. And suddenly, your soulmate understood why they had spent so much time standing between what they felt and what they actually did. They were trying to control something their heart had already decided. Stay till the end, because when they replayed that conversation again, they noticed something extraordinary. The third party never mentioned your name. Nobody suggested you. Nobody guided their answer toward you. Yet the instant the future was mentioned, their thoughts found you without being invited. That realization stayed with them. If you were merely a passing memory, why did their deepest picture of tomorrow automatically include you? Something huge is waiting for you, because your soulmate is beginning to see that their silence never erased the connection, it only delayed the moment when they would finally have to understand what it meant. Then another realization arrived, and this one completely changed the way they viewed the distance between you. Your soulmate started wondering whether everything that kept you apart had actually taught them what your presence was worth. Without constant access to you, they had been forced to discover what remained when conversations became fewer and everyday distractions disappeared. And what remained was surprisingly clear. They still remembered your energy. They still wondered what you were doing. They still imagined conversations with you that had never happened. Most importantly, when asked about building a future and having children someday, their mind still chose you. Don't skip, because your soulmate suddenly understood that certain connections become clearer in silence, not weaker. The third party expected an ordinary answer, but instead they uncovered the one person your soulmate had never fully removed from their heart. Stay till the end, because that discovery created a new question inside your soulmate. If I already know who matters to me, how much longer can I pretend I don't? For the first time, they are no longer searching for reasons to remain distant, they are searching for the courage to become clear. And this is where everything begins moving toward the revelation nobody around your soulmate expected. Something huge is waiting for you, because they are no longer imagining only the distant future. Their thoughts are moving backward toward the present, toward the first conversation. The first honest sentence, the first step that could reopen what silence left unfinished. They are wondering what they would say if they had only one chance to make you understand. They are wondering whether you would recognize the truth immediately or protect your heart until their actions proved it. But one thought keeps returning stronger than all the others. They do not want somebody else eventually asking them why they let the person they pictured in their future become only a memory. Don't skip. That question about children did something nobody planned. It showed your soulmate exactly whose presence their heart associates with home, commitment, and tomorrow. And now another question is replacing it. What happens if they finally stop hiding that truth from you? Stay till the end, because the answer forming inside them is leading toward a move even the third party never believed your soulmate would seriously consider. Something has shifted inside your soulmate, and this time they cannot simply push it aside. The third party's question keeps returning at the most unexpected moments, while they are alone, while they are doing ordinary things, even when they are trying to focus on something completely unrelated. Don't skip, because your soulmate has finally realized why that question affected them so deeply. It was never really about children. It was about who they instinctively trusted enough to imagine beside them when life became bigger than themselves. And their heart answered before their mind could interfere. You. Stay till the end, because now they are remembering the exact second your image appeared in their thoughts. There was something peaceful about it. They did not picture perfection. They pictured real life, busy mornings, quiet evenings, unexpected laughter, conversations after long days, and two people continuing to choose each other through changing seasons. Something huge is waiting for you, because your soulmate suddenly understood that their strongest vision of love was not about excitement that disappears. It was about belonging. And somehow, when they imagined belonging, their mind kept returning to you. Then something happened that made this realization even stronger. Your soulmate tried imagining that same future with someone else, almost as if they wanted to prove that their first answer meant nothing. But the feeling was different. The picture did not carry the same emotional weight. Don't skip, because that comparison revealed something they had spent a long time avoiding. You were not simply appearing in their thoughts because you were familiar. You were appearing because certain parts of their heart still associated you with the kind of connection they truly wanted. Suddenly, your soulmate remembered things you once said, expressions you made, little moments nobody else would consider important. They began understanding that love is sometimes revealed not through one enormous event, but through hundreds of tiny memories that refuse to become meaningless. Stay till the end, because one particular thought stopped them completely. What if the person I have been searching for in my future is the same person I already knew? That question changed everything. Something huge is waiting for you, because now your soulmate is no longer asking whether you mattered. They are asking why they ever tried to convince themselves that you didn't matter this much, and now the conversation is leading toward its biggest consequence. Your soulmate is beginning to understand that recognizing a future means eventually making a choice in the present. Don't skip. They know imagination alone cannot rebuild anything. They know feelings without action can remain invisible forever. And they know you cannot be expected to understand what they have never clearly expressed. That is why their next thought is completely different from everything that came before. Maybe I need to tell them. Stay till the end, because this is not about delivering some perfect speech. Your soulmate is thinking about finally giving you the truth they once struggled to admit, that when someone unexpectedly asked who they could imagine beside them in one of life's most meaningful chapters, every path inside their mind led straight toward you. Something huge is waiting for you, because there is still one question your soulmate needs to answer before making that move. If they finally open the door, are they prepared to walk through it completely? And what they decide about that could become the turning point nobody saw coming. The moment your soulmate finally answered that last question inside their own heart, everything became clearer. They realized that if they ever opened the door toward you again, they could not do it halfway. Don't skip, because this is where the conversation with the third party begins turning into something real. Your soulmate no longer wants to hide behind vague feelings or endless possibilities. They are thinking about what it would mean to approach you with sincerity, consistency, and the courage to finally say what has remained unspoken. Stay till the end, because one realization surprised them more than anything else. When the third party asked about having children, your soulmate did not simply imagine you standing somewhere in the background. They imagined you as the person beside them, the one sharing decisions, creating traditions, laughing through ordinary moments, and making a future feel meaningful. Something huge is waiting for you, because that image has now become impossible for them to dismiss. They keep asking themselves why their heart created such a specific picture so quickly, and every answer leads back to the same truth. Somewhere along the way, you became connected to their deepest idea of partnership, but then your soulmate faced an even more powerful realization. A future cannot be built from imagination alone. It begins with one honest moment in the present. Don't skip, because they started thinking about what they would actually say if you were standing in front of them right now. At first, they imagined complicated explanations. Then everything became simpler. They would tell you that distance never made you completely disappear from their thoughts. They would admit that the third party asked one unexpected question and accidentally uncovered something they had been avoiding for far too long. Stay till the end, because your soulmate also realized that they cannot control your response, and strangely, that understanding is making them more certain, not less. They do not want to reach toward you because they expect a particular answer. They want to reach toward you because the truth deserves to exist outside their imagination. Something huge is waiting for you, because your soulmate is beginning to understand that real courage is not knowing exactly what happens next. It is becoming honest enough to let the next chapter finally have a chance to begin, and now everything leads to one final shift that even the third party did not anticipate. Your soulmate has stopped asking, "Why did I think of them?" The question has changed to, "What am I going to do now that I know?" Don't skip, because those two questions are completely different. The first belongs to confusion. The second belongs to decision. Your soulmate is beginning to picture the first step, not the entire future, not every answer, just the first honest movement toward clarity. Stay till the end, because the most powerful truth uncovered by this entire conversation is surprisingly simple. Nobody had to mention your name for your soulmate's heart to find you. Nobody had to remind them of you. Nobody had to convince them that you belonged inside that picture. When asked to imagine one of the biggest chapters of their future, they arrived at you on their own. Something huge is waiting for you, because now that they understand what that means, remaining silent may become harder than finally speaking, and the next choice they make could reveal whether that imagined future was only a hidden wish or the beginning of something they are finally ready to pursue. A completely different thought has now entered your soulmate's mind, and it may be the one that finally changes everything. Instead of asking whether they should keep these feelings hidden, they are wondering what they could lose by waiting too long. Don't skip, because this realization arrived when they remembered the third party's original question again. That person had simply asked about having children someday, yet your soulmate's answer uncovered a future they had never spoken aloud. And the strangest part was still you. Your name was never offered. Your memory was never suggested. Still, their heart went straight toward you. Stay till the end, because your soulmate is beginning to understand that the strongest truths sometimes appear before we have time to prepare an explanation for them. They imagined you in ordinary moments that somehow felt extraordinary, sitting together after a long day, planning little traditions, laughing over things nobody else would understand, watching years pass while still recognizing the person beside them. Something huge is waiting for you, because your soulmate has realized they were not merely imagining a family. They were imagining a life, and you were woven through it. Then came a surprising question they had never seriously asked themselves before. What would I want them to know if I had only one completely honest conversation? Don't skip, because their answer was immediate. They would want you to know that your importance was never measured by the amount of communication between you. They would want you to understand that silence did not automatically mean forgetting. Most of all, they would want to tell you what happened when that third party asked about the future. Your soulmate imagined looking directly at you and admitting, I didn't choose the